Formula Palmer Audi Championship reconfigured this year as a club racing series in Britain. Round one of the championship at Brands Hatch, and director of the Specsavers Optician Group, Rob Lofting, sits on pole position. Journalist Richard Meaden is second on the grid, and Italian-born businessman Gino Ussi starts in third place. All these drivers with some or relatively little racing experience taking their hand at these four-cylinder turbo Palmer Audi machines. Gino Ussi tries to go through between the front row men. Pole position man Rob Lofting gets far too much wheel spin on that always tricky getaway from the bottom side of the grid, drops down into third place, but it's Richard Meaden who leads as the field goes up into Druids. The journalist having his first chance at a full racing championship in this club FPA series. Raced on occasions in a number of different one-off drives in one-make championships particularly, but this FPA championship, his first racing series for serious. Gino Ussi in second place. Take a while for them to settle themselves down further back. Oh, spinner there, that's the number one machine of Paul Warren, and he will rejoin right at the back of the field. So Meaden from Gino Ussi. Third place is Gideon Cresswell, ahead of Steve Warburton. Now, Steve Warburton, a very experienced saloon car racer, not so experienced in single-seaters though, but his racing experience, even if he hasn't done too much at Brands Hatch, there he is in fourth place, the white car with the red flashes at the front and the rear. That should certainly help him. A lot of these guys very inexperienced indeed, not only just in terms of these cars, but also in track time itself. So the number 4 car of Howard Spooner there, the black machine. Spooner, one of the more experienced drivers, but again, Gideon Cresswell here, holding off Steve Warburton. Stephen Young, the blue machine behind them, car number 6. And Rob Lofting, the pole man, the white car at the back of that shot. He is in 6th position in the number 5 car. The Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit now fallen into Formula 1 disuse, which is a bit of a shame, but still a very challenging and entertaining circuit for pretty much any racing car, and spectators really enjoy it. Have a look at the start. Pole position man left front, and the downhill nature of the grid always making it hard to get away. Staller further back towards the back of the grid though, and that won't have helped anybody at all. Fortunately, everybody avoiding him. Well, a high pass there from the number 2 machine of Ben Lewis. Tries to make it stick. Doesn't quite. Car 8, Natalie Butler, the only girl in the field, 27 years of age. And here, David Joseph from Scotland leading Howard Spooner, the number 4 machine. Chris Hyman runs wide in the red car. And looked as though the South African driver was about to lose a place there. Well, he holds on just. Black car alongside him, the 69 machine of Darren Anley. And back up with the leaders. The trio getting away. Steve Warburton under threat now from Stephen Young. And Rob Lofting still right at the back there. Grab pole position in the middle of the qualifying session, Rob Lofting. Hope to go a little quicker at the end of it, but perhaps too cautious, perhaps too over-enthusiastic with the power at the beginning of the race, and wheel spinning himself away from the grid down into 6th position. So Richard Meaden leading, Gino Ussi with him, and then Gideon Cresswell. Cresswell in 3rd place, and he's eased away from Steve Warburton in 4th. Cresswell, one of the younger drivers, just 24. Director of a company from Maidstone in Kent. Chris Hyman, the South African driver, easing up the inside of the number 9 machine of Stuart Pryor as they get up to Druids. And Gino Ussi still hounding Richard Meaden for all he's worth. Midfield battle further back. And there you see Hyman. Stuart Pryor did get ahead of him. Oops! And running out of roads. Just keeping it all together. Richard Stiles, of a pair of motor racing enthusiast brothers. And he raced in the rookie races in the 2000 Palmer Audi Series. Well, Richard Meaden still holding off Gino Ussi. Gino Ussi, 42 years of age, CEO of a business information company. Raced in Formula Lotus and Formula Renault between 1987 and 1991, when he had to give up racing to concentrate on more pressing matters of work. Did some historic Formula 3 racing last year, and now in this Club Palmer Audi Series. Battles further back. This is David Joseph, the Scot, also raced in the Rookie Series in his David Coulthard helmet replica. And Chris Hyman there, car 21, still chasing Stuart Pryor. Pryor, another name to remember from the Rookie Race Series of 2000. And there's Darren Anley, raced in Formula Ford 2000 last year. Couldn't find himself a budget to move up into Formula Renault or Formula 3. So here in the Club Palmer Audi Series, very reasonably priced competition. These 250 brake horsepower turbocharged Audi engines in the identical Van Diemen chassis. Plenty to play with, as well as Gino Ussi makes a dive down the inside of the leader, Richard Meaden. Both spun out. So Gino Ussi taking a look at the inside, got his nose inside, but contact between himself and the race leader means they're both dropped. And Gideon Cresswell now leads from that man Steve Warburton. Well, here's a chance for Warburton perhaps to win one. Stephen Young now third in his blue machine. Number 7 car there of Tim Whale ahead of Bernard Thea in the 45 car. Thea's got, looks like the head support, safety support coming off there. And this is our poleman, Rob Lofting, getting very out of shape through the Dingledale chicane, just avoiding contact, I think, with the barriers though. So pressure now on even more for Gideon Cresswell, not just holding off the experienced Steve Warburton for a podium place as he was earlier, but now for the race itself. That's Gino Ussi, recovered there in third place ahead of Stephen Young. Oh, and that is Natalie Butler in the barriers there. And she's gone off at Extinct Druids. Well, Gideon Cresswell chasing to the line. Steve Warburton can't quite get him by the checkered flag. Cresswell is thrilled. And Warburton also delighted to have finished a strong second place, but a first win in the Club FPA Series for Gideon Cresswell. A man who clearly enjoys tedium, as he not only likes Formula 1 but also Chelsea. Round 2 of the Club Formula Palmer Audi Championship from the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Gino Ussi and Richard Meaden on the front row of the grid. Ussi in the orange car really spinning the wheels from pole position, just about holding on to it though. Richard Meaden around the outside, couldn't take that lead away from him, will be second place as they come up the hill. These two in reversed order were leading the first race until Ussi went up the inside of Meaden and they clashed going on to the Grand Prix loop. Well, it's this interesting mix of experience and brand new racing drivers which makes this series such a challenge. There, Paul Warren, the number 1 machine, getting bounced out of contention on the first lap at Graham Hill Bend. And through the Dingledale chicane they go. Ussi leading from Meaden, Ben Lewis in third place, Steve Warburton in fourth position. He started 5th on the grid. And then a little further back, Stephen Young, the blue car. Replay, this is Natalie Butler on the quick dry on the inside, not able to slow enough to avoid contact with Paul Warren, the unfortunate man in the red car. So Gino Ussi leading, Richard Meaden in second place, and Ben Lewis right with him. Steve Warburton there or thereabouts in fourth, and the rest of the field dropping back. The poleman from race 1 Rob Lofting, you just saw there. He started down in 8th place for race 2. Not in the order they finished the first race, but from a separate qualifying session was how the grid was settled. Number 2 machine there of Ben Lewis, pressing hard as Gino Ussi leads, drives through the scene of his and Richard Meaden's tangle from race 1. One that Meaden will certainly rue, as he was on target to win that one. Off in the gravel at Clearways, that's Richard Stiles from Richmond in Surrey, the 34-year-old company director. The Kitbag.com car off there and missing its nose. And was that Stuart Pryor who was also driving away from the front of the shot? Well, let's have a replay. There is Pryor in the number 9 car, chasing the blue and white machine of Natalie Butler, and that's Stiles close behind them there. They go safely under the Bailey Bridge. Next pair of cars, and there is the nose flying high in the air of Richard Stiles' car. Looks as though he may have been caught out by the battling duo in front of him. And also at Stirling's, there you can see Rob Lofting just keeping it under control inside Darren Anley. Stirling's, I have to say, Rob, not a well-known passing place. Gino Ussi leading then from Richard Meaden. Number 6 machine of Stephen Young, the blue car, chasing Gideon Cresswell, the number 3 car. And up the inside comes the black machine, number 4. And that is the car of Howard Spooner. It looks as though the pair that battled for most of the first race are renewing that acquaintance. Gino Ussi leading. Oh, and he goes off, runs wide, runs out of road at Clearways, goes off, and through goes Richard Meaden. Oh, goodness me. Well, and to take the checkered flag. Now that is a real turnaround. Gino Ussi had led all the way. Can't believe he dropped the car off the road. Well, my goodness me. What a very strange win indeed for Richard Meaden, as Gino Ussi runs very wide indeed, just into the gravel. Richard Meaden goes through to win the second race in the Club FPA Series. Ben Lewis second, Gino Ussi rejoining in third, keeping Steve Warburton off the podium.